Namaste, Murtala ji. Uh,
Ram, it's me, Mrudula. I just want today, if it's possible, from everyone to focus on energy to give to my friend. Um, he's really, really sick. I don't know if he'll, you know, um, the virus is still going on, and he's a physician in Illinois.
yeah.
So, can we send good energies for him during our meditation today for healing and recovery?
Yes, sure, Mrudula ji. Let us all have this intention to bring wellness everywhere in this world, and all those particularly who are in need now, including your
Yes.
friend.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the family's not able to go near him, because of the situation. And he's in the ICU and really not doing well. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I think any energy that we can send, you know, hopefully will help him and the family.
All will be well.
Thank you, Ram.
Okay, friends, let us start the session. Kindly take a comfortable posture. Cross your legs, clasp your hands, and close your eyes. Become fully aware of your physical body, how you're sitting, where you're sitting, and make sure we are in a relaxed posture physically. Let us all also mentally ground and be in the now. Imagine a huge tree and look at how well it is grounded through its roots. The image of that immensely grounds ourselves. Now let us have an intention, asking the universe, asking all the masters to provide all the necessary support to each and every soul in need. With that intent, look at again the same tree and see the beauty, the strength, the energy of that tree. Grounding us more and more, aligning us to the vibration of gratitude for everything. Now become one with your breath, the normal, natural breath. Just be with your breath, my dear friends. And know that everything is happening in perfect harmony. Let us all know that everything is well taken care of. Let us all be very grateful for all the support and for all the guidance and for all the love we are always given. Last 1 minute. Slowly become aware of your surroundings and your physical body. Last 10 seconds. Become more and more aware of your body. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Slowly place your hands over your eyes for a few seconds. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes and take off your hands. Welcome back, friends. Hope you all had a wonderful journey, wonderful meditation. If you would like to share your experience or if you have any questions.
Hi Madhu. Hello Ram.
Hi, Minaji.
So beautiful. When we do the live music, I can feel my body is very cold. It always happened. I noticed that like I'm shivering whenever I meditate in live music. My body shivers. That's why when you said live music, I went and got my coat to wear and sit. But still I can feel that I'm shivering when the meditation happens. And the thing is, these days, I'm not understanding if I'm sleeping in meditation or if I'm having a deep meditation. But after the meditation, I told the other day also to mother, I'm feeling very relaxed, and I can see like what I'm having in meditation. Like I can see someone, or I can talk to someone, or I'm having a conversation with someone. But I'm feeling like I just came out of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I'm sleeping, or I am like having a deep meditation? Sometimes I don't get that. And today I had like a good view that I'm always longing to see my mom during this lockdown. So I can see my mom today in my meditation. I felt so happy, like what she's doing. Like usually she sleeps at this time in India. So how is her day? How did she spend her day today? I was so like emotional today. Yeah, it's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Minaji. Of course, you're always in meditation. So all these are part of your experiences in meditation. Thank you. Very good. There was Smitaji. Nice to hear that.
Very
Yeah,
good.
thank you so much. I could feel the temperature has gone down. I made her sleep on my lap and I meditated, and I could feel the temperature gone down. And now she is sleeping peacefully. Since morning, the temperature is so much, she was not able to do anything. The temperature was above 101, but now it is gone down. It is 98.6 after doing meditation. Deep gratitude to everyone, each and everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Smitaji. Thank you.
You.
Thank you so much, Ram. Thank you, Madhu, for the wonderful live music after a long time. I was like, I'm just lost still. I have no words. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Usha.
Thank you. Thank you, Usha. It was a different tune today. I did not know from where it was coming. I was also enjoying the tunes.
As always, Ram, spontan.
Anyone else, friends? Maybe you want to turn on the computer?
Sure.
Anyone would like to share anything? Please go ahead.
Takes a couple of minutes.
It's okay.
Hi, Madhu and Ram. Yeah, I also felt little, low temperature, like shivering a little bit. I don't know, maybe it's because of music, I don't know. But the moment I connected, I went into deep meditation and very high energy in my head, heavy again, that heaviness and vibrations I can feel. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Wonderful, Andy.
Thank you, Balaji.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Ramadil, for your energies. I'm just sad today. I'm sorry. He's really, really sick. So I hope that, I'm trying to send positive energy and positive from our group and all the other groups to, my
Mhm.
Facebook for his recovery. Hopefully it's possible, but, anything is possible as it's, from meditation, from love energy. So I just want all the energy to go to him so he can be off the ventilator,
Mhm.
So just if you throughout any meditations, I just want whoever's here today just to send, a lot of energies for healing and love and strength for him to, um, get better and wake up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it was really good. I could feel the strong energy today. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah, we need to all keep remembering that all is well, and all is very well taken care. And the more we are in that space, we are also reinforcing and supporting all the spiritual masters doing right things. So let us all have that strong strength within us and realize that all is well. That will only support further the job that is happening, or let's say supported by the guides. So that's the best way that we can support anyone. Thank you, Mridulaji, for reminding and coming up to share these nice intentions. And I think it really supported energetically everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe strongly, Ram, like you, that our energy is so strong we don't know, and we can help others that way too. And we, like you're saying, all the masters, we can also tune into their energies. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's connected. Can you please close?
Yeah, we move into the next part to continue hearing many masters, many lives, many masters. Over to Madhu.
Hello, friends. So just give me a minute. So today we move to the third chapter, friends. 1 week later, Catherine bounced into my office for her next hypnosis session. Beautiful to begin with. She was more radiant than ever. She happily announced that her lifelong fear of drowning had disappeared. Her fears of choking were somewhat diminished. Her sleep was no longer interrupted by the nightmare of a collapsing bridge. Although she had remembered the details of her past life recall, she had not yet truly integrated the material. The concepts of past lives and reincarnation were alien to her cosmology, and yet her memories were so vivid. The sights and sounds and smells so clear, the knowledge that she was there so powerful and immediate that she felt she must have actually been there. She did not doubt this. The experience was so overwhelming. Yet she was concerned about how this fit in with her upbringing and her beliefs. During the next week, I had reviewed my textbook from a comparative religions course taken during my freshman year at Columbia. There were indeed references to reincarnation in the Old and the New Testaments. In AD 325-325, the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great, along with his mother Helena, had deleted references to reincarnation contained in the New Testament. The Second Council of Constantinople, meeting in AD 553, confirmed this action and declared the concept of reincarnation a heresy. Apparently, they thought this concept would weaken the growing power of the church by giving humans too much time to seek their salvation. Yet, the original references had been there. The early church fathers had accepted the concept of reincarnation. The early Gnostics, Clement of Alexandria, Origen, Saint Jerome, and many others, believed that they had lived before and would again. I, however, had never believed in reincarnation. Actually, I had never really spent much time thinking about it. Although my earlier religious training taught about some kind of vague existence of the soul after death, I was not convinced about this concept. I was the oldest of 4 children, all spaced 3 years apart. We belonged to a conservative Jewish synagogue in Red Bank, a small town near the New Jersey seashore. I was the peacemaker and statesman in my family. My father more involved with religion than the rest of us were. He took it very seriously, as he took all of life. His children's academic achievements were the greatest joys in his life. He was easily upset by household discord and would withdraw, leaving me to mediate. Although this turned out to be excellent preparatory training for a career in psychiatry, my childhood was heavier and more responsible than, in retrospect, I would have preferred. I emerged from it as a very serious young man, one who got used to taking on too much responsibility. My mother was always expressing her love. No boundary stood in her way. A simpler person than my father. She used guilt, martyrdom, terminal embarrassment, and vicarious identification with her children as manipulative tools, all without a second thought. Yet, she was rarely gloomy, and we could always count on her love and support. My father had a good job as an industrial photographer, and although we always had plenty of food, money was very tight. My youngest brother, Peter, was born when I was 9. We had to divide 6 people into our small 2 bedroom garden apartment. Life in the small apartment was hectic and noisy, and I sought refuge in my books. I read endlessly when not playing baseball or basketball, my other childhood passions. I knew that education was my path out of the small town, comfortable as it was, and was always first or second in my class. By the time I received a full scholarship to Columbia University, I was a serious and a studious young man. Academic success continued to come easily. I majored in chemistry and was graduated with honors. I decided to become a psychiatrist because the field combined my interest in science and my fascination with the working of the human mind. In addition, a career in medicine would allow me to express my concern and compassion for other people. In the meantime, I had met Carol during a summer vacation at a Catskill Mountain hotel where I was working as a busboy and she was a guest. We both experienced an immediate attraction to each other and a strong sense of familiarity and comfort. We corresponded, dated, fell in love, and were engaged by my junior year at Columbia. She was both bright and beautiful. Everything seemed to be falling into place. Few young men worry about life and death and life after death, especially when things are flowing smoothly, and I was no exception. I was becoming a scientist and learning to think in a logical, dispassionate, prove it kind of a way. medical school, and residency at Yale University further crystallized this scientific method. My research thesis was on brain chemistry and the role of neurotransmitters, which are chemical messengers in the brain tissue. I joined the new breed of biological psychiatrists, those merging the traditional psychiatric theories and techniques with the new science of brain chemistry. I wrote many scientific papers, lectured at local and national conferences, and became quite a hotshot in my field. I was a bit obsessive, intense, and inflexible, but these were useful traits in a physician. I felt totally prepared to treat any person who walked into my office for therapy. Then Catherine came. Catherine became Aronda, a young girl who had lived in 1863 BC. Or was it the other way around? And here she was again, happier than I had ever seen her. I again worried that Catherine might be afraid to continue. However, she eagerly prepared for the hypnosis and went under quickly. I am throwing wreaths of flowers on the water. This is a ceremony. My hair is blonde and braided. I'm wearing a brown dress with gold and sandals. Somebody has died, somebody in the royal house, the mother. I'm a servant with the royal house and I help with the food. We put the bodies in the brine for 30 days. They dry out and the parts are taken out. I can smell it, smell the bodies. She had spontaneously gone back to Aronda's lifetime, but to a different part of it, to when her duty was to prepare bodies after their death. In a separate building, Catherine continued. I can see the bodies. We are wrapping bodies. The soul passes on. You take your belongings with you to be prepared for the next and greater life. She was expressing what seemed like an Egyptian concept of death and the afterlife, different from any of our beliefs. In that religion, you could take it with you. She left her lifetime and rested. She paused for several minutes before entering an apparently ancient time. I see eyes hanging in a cave, rocks. She vaguely described a dark and miserable place, and she was now visibly uncomfortable. Later, she described what she had seen of herself. I was ugly, dirty, and smelly. She left for another time. There are some buildings and a cart with some stone wheels. My hair is brown with a cloth on it. The cart has straw in it. I'm happy. My father is there. He's hugging me. It's Edward, the pediatrician who insisted she see me. He's my father. We live in a valley with trees. There are olive and fig trees in the yard. People write on papers. There are funny marks on them like letters. People are writing all day, making a library. It is 1536 BC. The land is barren. My father's name is Perseus. The year did not fit exactly, but I was sure she was in the same lifetime that she had reported during the previous week's session. I took her ahead in time, staying in that lifetime. My father knows you, meaning me. You and he talk about crops, law, and government. He says you are very smart and I should listen to you. I took her further ahead in time. He is, father, lying in a dark room. He is old and sick. It's cold. I feel so empty. She went ahead to her death. Now I am old and feeble. My daughter is there near my bed. My husband is already dead. My daughter's husband is there and their children. There are many people around. Her death was peaceful this time. She was floating, floating. This reminded me of Dr. Raymond Moody's studies of victims of near death experiences. His subjects also remembered floating, then being pulled back to their bodies. I had read his book several years previously and now made a mental note to reread it. I wondered if Catherine could remember anything more after her death. but she could only say, I am just floating. I awakened her and ended the session. With a new insatiable hunger for any scientific papers that had been published on reincarnation, I hunted through the medical libraries. I studied the works of Ian Stevenson, MD, a well respected professor of psychiatry at the University of Virginia, who has published extensively in the psychiatric literature. Dr. Stevenson has collected over 2,000 examples of children with reincarnation type memories and experiences. Many exhibited synaglossy, the ability to speak a foreign language to which they were not ever never exposed. His case reports are carefully complete, well researched, and truly remarkable. I read an excellent scientific overview by Edgar Mitchell. With great interest, I examined the ESP data from Duke University and the writings of Professor C.J. Ducasse of Brown University, and I intently analyzed the studies of Dr. Martin Ebon, Dr. Helen Bambach, Dr. Gertrude Schmeltler, Dr. Frederick Lenz, and Dr. Edith Fior. The more I read, the more I wanted to read. I began to realize that even though I had considered myself well educated about every dimension of the mind, my education had been very limited. There are libraries filled with this research and literature, and few people know about it. Much of this research was conducted, verified, and replicated by reputable clinicians and scientists. Could they all be mistaken or deceived? The evidence seemed to be overwhelmingly supportive. Yet I still doubted. Overwhelming or not, I found it difficult to believe. Both Catherine and I, in our own ways, had already been profoundly affected by the experience. Catherine was improving emotionally, and I was expanding the horizons of my mind. Catherine had been tormented by her fears for many years and was finally feeling some relief, whether through actual memories or vivid fantasies. I had found a way to help her, and I was not going to stop now. For a brief moment, I thought about all of this as Catherine drifted into a trance at the beginning of the next session. Prior to the hypnotic induction, she had related a dream about a game being played on old stone steps, a game played with a checkerboard with holes in it. The dream had seemed especially vivid to her. I now told her to go back beyond the normal limits of space and time, to go back and see if her dream had roots in a previous reincarnation. I see steps leading up to a tower, overlooking the mountains, but also the sea. I'm a boy. My hair is blonde, strange hair. My clothes are short, brown, and white, made from animal skins. Some men are on top of the tower, looking out, guards. They are dirty. They play a game like checkers, but not. The board is round, not square. They play with sharp, dagger like pieces, which fit into the holes. The pieces have animal heads on them. Kirustan, phonetic, phonetic spelling, territory. From the Netherlands around 1473. I asked her the name of the place in which she lived and whether she could see or hear a year. I'm in a seaport now. The land goes down to the sea. There is a fortress and water. I see a hut, my mother cooking in a clay pot. My name is Johann. She was progressed to her death. At this point in our sessions, I was still looking for a single overwhelming traumatic event that could either cause or explain her current life symptoms. Even these remarkably explicit visualizations were fantasies, and I was unsure of this. What she believed or thought could still underlie her symptoms. After all, I had seen people traumatized by their dreams. Some could not remember whether a childhood trauma actually happened or occurred in a dream. Yet, The memory of that trauma still haunted their adult lives. What I did not yet fully appreciate was that the steady day in and day out pounding of undermining influences, such as a parent's scathing criticisms, could cause even more psychological trauma than a single traumatic event. These damaging influences, because they blend into the everyday background of our lives, are even more difficult to remember and exorcise. A constantly criticized child can lose as much confidence and self esteem as one who remembers being humiliated on one particular horrifying day. A child whose family is impoverished and has very little food available on a day to day basis might eventually suffer from the same psychological problems as a child who experienced one major episode of accidental near starvation. I would soon realize that the day in and day out pounding of negative forces had to be recognized and resolved with as much attention as that paid to the single, overwhelmingly traumatic event. Catherine began to speak. There are boats like canoes, brightly painted. Providence area. We have weapons, spears, slings, bows, and arrows, but bigger. There are big, strange oars on the boat. Everyone has to row. We may be lost. It is dark. There are no lights. I'm afraid. There are other boats with us, apparently a raiding party. I'm afraid of the animals. We sleep on dirty, foul smelling animal skins. We are scouting. My shoes look funny, like sacks, ties at the ankles from animal skins. Long pause. My face is hot from the fire. My people are killing the others, but I am not. I do not want to kill. My knife is in my hand. Suddenly, she began to gurgle and gasp for breath. She reported that an enemy fighter had grabbed her from behind, around the neck, and had slit her throat with his knife. She saw the face of a killer before she died. It was Stuart. He looked different then, but she knew it was he. Johann had died at the age of 21. She next found herself floating above her body, observing the scene below. She drifted up to the clouds, feeling perplexed and confused. Soon, she felt herself being pulled into a tiny, warm space. She was about to be born. Somebody is holding me, she whispered slowly and dreamily. Someone who helped me with the birth. She's wearing a green dress with a white apron. She has a white hat folded back at the corners. The room has funny windows, many sections. The building is stone. My mother has long dark hair. She wants to hold me. There is a funny, rough night skirt on my mother. It hurts to rub against it. It feels good to be in the sun and to be warm again. It's the same mother I have now. During the previous session, I had instructed her to closely observe the significant people in these lifetimes to see whether she could identify them as significant people in her present lifetime as Catherine. According to most writers, groups of souls tend to reincarnate together again and again, working out their karma. Debts owed to others and to the self, lessons to be learned over the span of many lifetimes. In my attempt to understand this strange, spectacular drama that was unfolding, unbeknown to the rest of the world, in my quiet, dimly lighted office, I wanted to verify this information. I felt the need to apply the scientific method, which I had rigorously used over the past 15 years in my research, to evaluate this most unusual material emerging from Catherine's lips. Between sessions, Catherine herself was becoming increasingly more psychic. She had intuitions about people and events that proved to be true. During the hypnosis, she had begun to anticipate my questions before I had a chance to ask them. Many of her dreams had a precognitive or foretelling bent. On one occasion, when her parents came to visit her, her father expressed tremendous doubt about what was happening. To prove to him that it was true, she took him to the racetrack. There, right before his eyes, she proceeded to pick the winner of every race. He was stunned. Once she knew that she had proved her point, she took all of the money that she had won and gave it to the first poor street person she met on her way out of the track. She intuitively felt that the new spiritual power she had gained should not be used for financial reward. For her, they had a much higher meaning. She told me that this experience was a little frightening to her, but she was so pleased with the progress she had made that she was eager to continue with the regressions. I was both shocked and fascinated by her psychic abilities, especially the episode at the racetrack. This was tangible proof. She had the winning ticket to every race. This was no coincidence. Something very odd was happening over these past several weeks, and I struggled to keep my perspective. I could not deny her psychic abilities. And if these abilities were real and could produce tangible proofs, could her recitations of past life events also be true? Now she returned to the lifetime in which she had just been born. This incarnation seemed to be more recent, but she could not identify a year. Her name was Elizabeth. I am older now with a brother and two sisters. I see the dinner table. My father is there. He is Edward, pediatrician, back for an encore performance as a father. My mother and father are fighting again. The food is potatoes and beans. He is mad because the food is cold. They fight a lot. He is always drinking. He hits my mother. Catherine's voice was frightened and she was trembling visibly. He pushes the kids. It's not like he was before, not the same person. I don't like him. I wish he would go away. She was speaking as a child would speak. My questioning of her during these sessions were certainly very different from what I used in conventional psychotherapy. I acted more as a guide with Catherine, trying to review an entire lifetime in an hour or two, searching for traumatic events and harmful patterns that might explain her current day symptoms. Conventional therapy is conducted at a much more detailed and leisurely pace. Every word chosen by the patient is analyzed for nuances and hidden meanings. Every facial gesture, every bodily movement, every inflection of the voice is considered and evaluated. Every emotional reaction is carefully scrutinized. Behavior patterns are painstakingly pieced together. With Catherine, however, years could whir by in minutes. Catherine's sessions were like driving the Indy 500 at full throttle and trying to pick out faces in the crowd. I returned my attention to Catherine and I asked her to advance in time. I am married now. Our house has one big room. My husband has blonde hair. I don't know him. That is, he has not appeared in Catherine's present lifetime. We have no children yet. He is a very nice to me. We love each other and we are happy. Apparently, she had successfully escaped from the oppression in her parental home. I asked if she could identify the area in which she lived. Brennington, Catherine whispered hesitatingly. I see books with funny old covers, the big one closest with a strap. It's the Bible. There are big fancy letters, Gaelic language. Here she said some words I could not identify, whether they were Gaelic or not. I have no idea. We live in land not near the sea, country, Brennington. I see a farm with pigs and lambs. This is our farm. She had gone ahead in time. We have two boys. The older is getting married. I can see the church steeple, a very old stone building. Suddenly her head hurt, and Catherine was in pain. clutching her left temple area. She reported that she had fallen on the stone steps, but she recovered. She died of an old age in her bed at home with her family around. She again floated out of her body after her death, but this time she was not perplexed or confused. I am aware of a bright light. It's wonderful. You get energy from this light. She was resting after death in between lifetimes. Minutes passed in silence. Suddenly she spoke, but not in the slow whisper she had always used previously. Her voice was now husky and loud, without hesitation. Our task is to learn, to become godlike through knowledge. We know so little. You are here to be my teacher. I have so much to learn. By knowledge, we approach God, and then we can rest. Then we come back to teach and help others. I was speechless. Here was a lesson from after her death, from the in between state. What was the source of this material? This did not sound at all like Catherine. She had never spoken like this, using these words, this phraseology. Even the tone of her voice was totally different. At that moment, I did not realize that although Catherine had uttered the words, she had not originated the thoughts. She was relaying what was being said to her. She later identified the masters, highly evolved souls not presently in body, as the source. They could speak to me through her. Not only could Catherine be regressed to past lifetimes, but now she could channel knowledge from the beyond. Beautiful knowledge. I struggled to retain my objectivity. A new dimension had been introduced. Catherine had never read the studies of Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross or Dr. Raymond Moody, who have both written about near-death experiences. She had never heard of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Yet, she was relating similar experiences to those described in these writings. This was a proof of sorts. If only there were more facts, more tangible details I could verify. My skepticism fluctuated, yet remained. Maybe she had read about near death research in a magazine article or had seen an interview on a television show. Although she denied any conscious remembrance of such an article or show, perhaps she retained a subconscious memory. But she went beyond these previous writings and transmitted a message back from this in between state. If only I had more facts. After she awakened, Catherine remembered the details of her past lives, as always. However, she could not remember anything that happened after her death as Elizabeth. In the future, she would never remember any details of the in between states. She could only remember the lifetimes. By knowledge, we approach God. We were on our way. I think that's all for today, friends. So, very interesting.
Yeah, interesting, mother. How come she's able to remember all the minute details, everything, right?
Yeah,
So nice.
yes, it is. It is. It is. It is really Mina.
Mm,
I mean, I think she just surrendered. That's the. She completely relaxed and trusted the doctor.
yeah, yeah, good.
Wow, that's
So
beautiful.
Madhu, one thing in PLR, can
Mhm.
we identify like people we know that easily, or does it take more technique or process?
No,
Like she's just seeing, at least
mhm,
the book makes
mhm.
us seem like, okay, she just sees people and then she immediately ties them to the
Recollects.
current.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We can recollect actually.
Oh, okay.
We can
Okay. Wow.
recollect, and energetically we can recollect. Like that this is my mother or this is my father, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, do we go to like any specific, like wherever she was taken, was
Mhm.
there a reason for her to go to that specific point, or she randomly went to that life?
She randomly went. You know what happens in these regressions is you go back and forth. You know, like I got regressed, and I also got regressed by Rachikar sir, who is the team of Dr. Newton's. And when he was doing that on me, I have seen a few of my past lives, and I jumped from one past life to another. It was very quick. So
Wow.
it's not like, you know, you will stay there, and you know, whatever is coming, you just say it out. You don't doubt whatever is coming, so you just say it out. So and maybe here the guide or the doctor is guiding her to particularly to go to that lifetime and to see whether, you know, like she can able to see whether she can she has some traumatic experience in that lifetime where she has to resolve in this lifetime. So
Yeah, this is definitely making me
but
interested in the
yes,
PLR, but yeah,
but without the
pretty nice.
consent, it won't happen, Deepika. You know, like without the consent of the person, like suppose Catherine, without her consent it won't happen. If
Hmm.
sometimes, you know, like you don't feel like sharing, you know, like though the doctor or the one who is regressing us, he will ask many questions, but we don't want to say anything. We are in that state,
Wow.
blank state. Yes, it happens. Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
and it's lot of patience that that the doctor also has, you know, like it sometimes it takes hours together. Like when we were in this life between lives course, like we had to we I it was a 6 day course. Beautiful course, and what happens in between lives, that is also very wonderful to know. You know, like we know that there is past life or a future life. What happens in between, you know, like life between lives, this is what is all about. And what how we vacate our body, and after we vacate our body, what is that we go into, like we think that we just die like that, and we don't know anything what happens later. So we will be I have seen this beautiful experience. So, you know, like what happened after my deaths in my previous lives, and who all came to take me, and who is my soul group family, and who is my higher guides, and all these things you are able to see it. So when you are able to see it, you should not doubt it, because um, what happened is, like I have seen that my higher master is Vishnu's consciousness, or the power of Vishnu was there with me all the time. With this, I want to share also one experience which is very deep indeed. After this experience with Dr. Newton's LBR course, wherein I was requested, and I was seeing this my higher master as Vishnu. Later, after 1 month, we had traveled to Tanzania. What happened in Tanzania is we went for a forest walk in the bushwalk. It's called bushwalk in the, you know, like in the, you know, like we are in the animal in a free zone where animals are roaming here and there. You know, like the wild animals are roaming here and there. So we have given one security guard and one guide and one gunman. So we were me and Ram. There were two more people. This gunman and a guide. So we were all walking, and he was explaining everything. The guide was explaining everything, and this gunman was checking whether we are secure or not, and all these things. So we went to a place. It's like a small cave kind of a thing, like a small underground tunnel kind of a thing. There we were just standing. So the guide asked us, don't stand straight, just stand to the either sides, so that he was explaining that in this whole, two animals share their like space. Like mornings, the hind or the mornings, the wild boar, they stay inside, and in the nights hyenas come and stay there, because nights wild boars go out, and hyenas come in. So it's he was explaining that. And when he was explaining that, suddenly there was a train, this like a train of wild birds were coming from inside. Tuck tuck tuck, they were just as fast as they could come, they were coming. I think it's a family of 4 or 5, if I remember it. They were just there, and I was in front of them. And the gunman was taking his gun, and he was about to shoot. Something had happened, but to my surprise, what had happened is the the animal was just in front of me, as if there's something which was blocking, as if there was a wall. That animal could sense something and moved away uh, from that space. Otherwise, these animals are really really dangerous. They have a very sharp teeth, and it would have been a very like a tragic event. But I did not get panic. I just said, like, I believe in, I've attended this course, and then afterwards, like, I've read these books about, no, you should not have fear of death. So all these things. So when there was a situation, I had to really practically implement it, and I did it. So there was no fear at all. And then afterwards, this people were asking, the gunman and the guide was asking, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I said, "I'm perfectly fine." So, and later, when I recollected this, I remembered that my higher master is Vishnu, and I have this beautiful Kondapalli statues of Dashavataras, and suddenly I remembered that, yes, Vishnu's one avatara is like a Varaha avataram. So which is a wild boar. So I'm always protected, so I never doubted that. And that was again a confirmation that, yes, the higher master is protecting us, and there is something else that I have to still do in this world. It's not the time for me to go, otherwise they would have really attacked. It was just straight, like they were just on me. It's just, it's as if I cannot explain how close they were. It's just um, like if somebody is standing in front of you, just in front of you, that close they were. And then they just came, and then they moved to the other side, as if something was blocking them. So this is again, a very deep experience that, after and there is one more thing that happened, that after this LBL course I have attended, and when I knew that my higher master is Vishnu, I came back home for the the after the program finished. I came back to home because it's a in-house program, so I had to stay there in the Quantum Life University for 6 days. And after that, I came back home, and when I came back home, I have ordered few books, in which one of the books was Thousand Seeds of Joy by Ananda Karunesh. So when I got that book, I just opened. When I opened, the first thing, just I randomly opened. The first thing caught my eye was Vishnu, and then again it confirmed. And then this later in November, this event happened. So there's always hints, there is always protection, and the only thing that we should not have is doubt. Whatever comes to your, like many people have questions, whether is it your imaginations, or is it a mind play, or is it really something happening? So that's why never doubt, and whatever comes to your mind that's giving an information, so just you have to express. That's what this course is about.
Wow, that's very beautiful experience you've got. I mean, that was almost, yeah, near to death experience, and then you were not afraid at all.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Madhu.
Wow.
Thank
It's
you, thank you.
beautiful sharing.
Especially near you.
Yes,
You had
yes,
so
ma'am.
much courage at during that moment.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
wonderful experience.
it's not a courage. I could say like it's just a trust. I trust that
Yeah,
I'm
the
taken
trust.
care. Surely I have this complete trust that I am taken care. There is still some things that I have to finish in this lifetime. There were so many near death experience, and every time there was some protection. I can completely see that, as if there was this air, like the very cold, very beautiful breeze, and then you don't remember what happened in that moment, and then that is crossed. Yeah.
Wow, wonderful sharing. Thank you, Madhu.
Thank you, Balakar. Anybody else, friends? Anybody else wants to share anything? Okay. Yes, Shashank.
Hi, Madhaka. It's great, really. I didn't want you to stop. It was so good. And
Mm,
going, yeah, hearing about the past lives. I remember also in other books, the person who is doing this, even though they're very experienced, sometimes, as you said, the soul itself will stop
yeah.
telling the subject from very sensitive information,
Mm,
something like that. I remember this.
correct. Correct.
Wow.
Only if it has to be shared, you will share it. Otherwise, you will not share it.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Great.
in this course also, in LBL course also, every day we have given a partner, so that that
Mhm.
partner will do regression, and they will take us to the life between life states. So what happens is you have to completely give time. Sometimes like 3.5 hours, 4 hours, like we have to spend on each other. Like for one person, like I have to wait till I have to question many times. Rephrase the questions and then be patient, and then if they
Mhm.
are not answering, we have to ask other questions, jump to other topics. Yeah,
A
these
lot of
things,
patience. Okay.
yes. So I've seen and I've witnessed. Wow, it's really, really, like it's a fantasy world when you hear all these experience of the ones who are there for that program. I said, wow, like it's a completely new world.
Yeah.
So that was the first time for me to know these many people and their experiences about past lives and LBL states. Yeah.
Okay. It's very interesting to take this LBL course next time. Yeah. Looking forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Newton
Yeah,
sir.
it's
Yeah.
great. Yes, yes, it's
Mhm.
Newton sirs. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shashank. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. So, all right, friends. Then we all see each other tomorrow evening, and do not forget that tomorrow morning we have Master Yana's session at 6 a.m. Germany time, 10:30 a.m. In India time, and 5 a.m. British time. So please do join, and she's amazing. So she's a very good friend of ours. So she's an amazing guide. So please attend and enjoy the meditations. So till we see each other tomorrow, have a lovely day, a lovely evening, and a lovely night. Namaste to all.